Imagine living in a place where the earth is so cracked and dry that it looks like a giant jigsaw puzzle. A place where the sun beats down relentlessly, and the only shade comes from the walls of your own small hut. This was the reality for Jadav Payang, a boy born on the Majuli Island in the state of Assam, India. Majuli isn't just any island, it's one of the largest river islands in the world, nestled in the mighty Brahmaputra River. But this mighty river was both a giver of life and a force of destruction. Year after year, the monsoon rains would swell the Brahmaputra, causing massive floods that eroded the island's sandy shores. When the floods receded, they left behind barren, sun-scorched sandbars. It was a harsh, unforgiving landscape. One day in 1979, when Jadav was just 16, a particularly devastating flood washed a large number of snakes ashore onto one of these barren sandbars. The floodwaters eventually went down, but the snakes were left stranded. Jadav, walking along the riverbank, stumbled upon a heart-wrenching sight. Dozens, then hundreds of snakes, lying lifeless on the hot sand. They hadn't drowned. They had baked to death under the intense, unyielding sun, with no trees or vegetation to offer them even a sliver of shade. This image seared itself into Jadav's mind. He was just a teenager, but he felt a profound sense of sorrow and responsibility. He thought, if the snakes died today, what about the other animals? What about the people? He knew in his heart that without trees, there would be no birds, no deer, and eventually, no future for his island home. He couldn't just stand by and watch his world wither away. Filled with a new, urgent purpose, Jadav went to the elders in his village. He shared the story of the dying snakes and pleaded with them for help. "We must plant trees," he urged, "or our island will be washed away." The elders listened, but their response was not what he hoped for. They told him it was impossible. The soil was too sandy, the task too immense. They offered him a few bamboo seedlings and some well-intentioned but discouraging advice, essentially telling him nothing would grow there. But Jadav wasn't one to be easily discouraged. He saw not an impossible wasteland, but a blank canvas. He took the 20 or so bamboo seedlings they gave him and went back to that desolate sandbar. He found a spot, and with his bare hands, he started to dig. The ground was hard, the sun was hot, but his determination was hotter. He planted those first few bamboo shoots, marking the beginning of a journey that would defy all expectations. For a young boy, this was a lonely and monumental task. Every single day, he would wake up before the sun, gather his tools, which were often just his own two hands, and make his way to the sandbar. He had no fancy equipment, no team of helpers, and no funding. All he had was a vision. He quickly realized that just planting wasn't enough. The young saplings needed water to survive the scorching heat. So, he devised a simple yet ingenious irrigation system. He placed earthen pots with tiny holes in them on bamboo platforms above each sapling. He would fill the pots with water, and they would drip slowly, steadily, throughout the day, providing just enough moisture to keep the young plants alive. This meant carrying heavy pots of water from the river, day in and day out, a grueling physical chore. His daily routine was relentless. Morning was for planting and watering. The afternoon was spent collecting seeds. Jadav would travel far and wide on his bicycle, searching for different types of seeds from the healthier parts of the island. He learned to identify trees that could thrive in the sandy soil. He even began introducing ants and earthworms to the area. He knew that a healthy forest needed a healthy ecosystem. The ants and earthworms would help to break down the soil, making it more fertile and porous, creating a better foundation for life to take root. As you can imagine, people in his village thought he was crazy. They saw him spending all this time on a barren piece of land, talking to plants and carrying ants in his pockets. They called him Malai, a nickname that wasn't exactly a compliment at the time. They laughed at his seemingly pointless obsession. For years, he toiled in solitude, his only companions, the rustling leaves of his growing sand. He faced criticism, ridicule, and a deep sense of isolation. But he never wavered. The image of those dying snakes was a constant reminder of why he started. He was building a home for the homeless, a refuge for the vulnerable. Slowly, almost imperceptibly at first, things began to change. The first few bamboo shoots grew into a small clump. Then, other trees started to take hold. The soil, enriched by the decaying leaves and the activity of the insects he introduced, became more fertile. What was once a lifeless, sandy expanse began to show patches of green. Years turned into a decade. Then too, Jadav's solitary efforts were transforming the landscape. A few trees became a small wood. The small wood grew into a dense grove. The grove expanded and expanded until it became a forest. A real, living, breathing forest, teeming with life. The first to return were the birds. Their songs filled the air, replacing the eerie silence that once hung over the sandbar. Then came the deer, rabbits, and other smaller animals, finding food and shelter among the trees. The forest he was building was becoming a sanctuary. But with the return of herbivores came the predators. One of the most incredible moments in this story is when, after about 30 years of his work, a herd of over 100 wild elephants made the forest their home. They now visit for several months each year, finding a safe haven in the lush greenery. Even Royal Bengal tigers and rhinoceroses, creatures that hadn't been seen on the island for decades, were spotted in Jadav's forest. The arrival of these large animals, especially the elephants, brought new challenges. Sometimes the herd would wander into nearby villages and damage crops, leading to anger and frustration from the local farmers. They blamed Jadav. Once again, he was the target of their frustration. But Jadav, ever the caretaker of his forest, understood the elephants' needs. He knew they were just looking for food. So, what did he do? He started planting more of what the elephants loved to eat, like bamboo and banana trees, strategically on the edges of the forest to keep them satisfied and away from the villages. He became not just a planter of trees, but a manager of a complex, wild ecosystem. For nearly 30 years, Jadav's incredible work went largely unnoticed by the outside world. He was just the quiet, eccentric man who had dedicated his life to a forest that everyone else had said was impossible. Then, in 2008, a wildlife journalist named Getchu Kalita was traveling through the area, documenting the bird life. He was paddling down the river when he saw something unbelievable. A dense, sprawling forest in the middle of a barren sandbar. He was baffled. This forest wasn't on any map. Intrigued, he went to investigate. He ventured into the woods and, to his astonishment, came face to face with Jadav Payang, the man who had single-handedly created this entire ecosystem. Jichu was blown away. He spent time with Jadav, listening to his story, and knew he had stumbled upon one of the most inspiring environmental tales of our time. Getchu Kalita published an article about Jadav in a local newspaper. From there, the story spread like wildfire. National and international media picked it up. Scientists, filmmakers, and government officials flocked to Majuli to see this miracle for themselves. The man who was once ridiculed as Malay was now being celebrated as the Forest Man of India. The forest, which Jadav affectionately named Malay Forest after his own nickname, now covers an incredible 1,360 acres. That's larger than Central Park in New York City. Think about that for a second. One man, with his bare hands and an unshakable belief, planted a forest bigger than Central Park on a barren wasteland. Jadav Payang has since received numerous awards, including the Padma Shri, one of India's highest civilian honors. He's traveled the world, sharing his story and his simple but powerful message. If you love nature, nature will love you back. But even with all the fame and recognition, Jadav remains a humble man. He still lives in his small hut near his forest with his family. He still wakes up every day and tends to his trees. His work is not done. He says his dream is to continue planting until his last breath, to cover the entire Majuli Island in green. Jadav's story is more than just a tale about planting trees. It's a testament to the power of a single individual to make a profound difference. It shows us that you do not need millions of dollars or a huge organization to change the world. Sometimes, all you need is a handful of seeds, a lot of hard work, and a heart that refuses to give up. He saw a problem and didn't wait for someone else to solve it. He became the solution in a world facing massive environmental challenges like deforestation and climate change. Jadav Payang's life is a beacon of hope. It reminds us that every single one of us has the power to plant a seed, to nurture it, and to watch it grow into something magnificent. His forest stands today as a living, breathing monument to what one person's dedication can achieve. It's a gift, not just to the wildlife that calls it home, but to all of humanity. So the next time you feel small or powerless in the face of big problems, remember the story of the forest man of India. Remember the boy who saw death on a sandbar and chose to create life. Thanks for watching. If you were inspired by Jadav's story, please hit that like button and subscribe for more incredible stories from around our amazing planet. See you next time.